Hello, and welcome to MX vs. ATV Legends, which is a game that I haven't played in, honestly, quite some time. However, with the recent major update, or at least what the developers are referring to as a major update, which is patch 2.11, I figured that there was no better time to go ahead and dive back in and see how much different it felt since I played it last. So let's go ahead and check out everything that this update has to offer, and y'all can be the judge of whether or not you can see the difference in the gameplay. I'll of course give you my thoughts on how the update feels, but y'all let me know in the comments down below what your experience with this update has been. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into all of the information about the new update. And first up, I want to talk about what you're seeing on screen right now, which is Series Mode. Now, Series Mode is an entirely new mode that is essentially or at least what the developers call, a low-friction career that allows you to unlock tracks faster if you don't necessarily want to deal with a full-fledged career mode, which is an interesting approach, and it's also an interesting way to allow players to go through a variety of different tracks without necessarily having to deal with all of the other logistics of career mode. Obviously, if you want to do the standard career mode, you still can, but series mode is an option that is there for you. Now, whether or not you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's entirely up to each individual player to make that choice for themselves. Now, as far as actual gameplay mechanics go, the physics of whips and scrubs have been adjusted, especially in terms of ease of landing. So if you let go of the lean controls midair, it will be a lot easier to return to a centered body position, or rather a centered body and bike position, which I think is overall a good thing, because that just means that it's going to allow more players to land more whips, which I honestly think it's good. I don't think it's bad that they've kind of lowered that crash threshold a little bit. They've definitely made it feel a lot smoother by doing so, and I would argue that before this update, this game actually felt very finicky in terms of landing. Now, especially if you were landing from a longer or higher jump, a lot of those landings were super inconsistent, to where, let's say you would land on one lap, and then on the following lap, you would do the exact same set of things and wind up crashing and not really be all that sure why. And they also talked about that in their own words about the update, where they said one of the biggest goals with this was to improve consistency of when and where crashes happen. Now, as far as more environment-based additions, we have 5 new expert tracks, including Denver, St. Louis, Atlanta, Indianapolis, and Las Vegas. The remaining tracks will continue to trickle out in future patches. They also said they adjusted the huge jump. Interesting choice of words, by the way, just like literally classifying the jump as huge jump. But either way, the adjustment was they apparently have made the jump taller and steeper to reduce the high frequency of wrecks when landing. So I'm sure that that adjustment, combined with the other physics adjustments in terms of landing, will make that area a whole lot smoother to play. Another interesting environmental adjustment that they made was they said that in open world maps, they have actually adjusted the rut width so it's not excessively wide. So interesting adjustment there for the open world maps. I do overall think that that's a good idea though, and it's a good decision. And then for the final thing in the environmental adjustments, they adjusted the water obstacles in the Lechuga Lakes nations by raising the terrain slightly to reduce wrecking in what should be shallow puddles. And as far as I can tell, it seems like they've made a lot of good adjustments and a lot of good little tweaks and fixes to not only the environmental aspects of the game, but honestly, it just feels like it plays a lot smoother now. And I know that they've been kind of trickling more updates to the physics system into the game over time, but I definitely think that it's in a state right now where I can notice a very, very big difference as opposed to when the game launched. So now let's move on to some of the other changes that have been included in this update. So going down the list into customization, they've added 2023 Honda Anniversary Edition parts to the 2023 Honda bikes. Also, 2021 to 2023 KTMs and Husqvarnas now have new graphics presets. And now we've gotten to the physics section of the update, which I'm going to be completely honest with y'all, the physics section is long. It's properly long. It's like it's a genuinely huge section of this update. So y'all better be ready. Let's go ahead and dive into this. All right, so up first is they fixed an issue causing MX bikes to continuously wreck in corners. That seems a little bit broad, but all right. This next one is kind of interesting because it's something that I kind of almost imagined the game would have already had, but essentially they added speed checks to wrecks and near wrecks, preventing wrecks and wreck animations from playing at particular ranges of speed. Next, they added near wreck conditions for landing sideways and landing with too much roll, so those won't be instant wrecks anymore. They also updated the wreck evaluation system to improve the detection and triggering of wrecks themselves. They also increased suspension wreck thresholds on bikes. They also added quick scrub variations based when leaning and tuning are applied before a jump takeoff. Each type of quick scrub changes the jump trajectory and how far the rider is leaned over at the takeoff. For a regular quick scrub, push, lean, and steer in opposite directions at the same time. For an upright quick scrub, steer into the jump before leaning in the opposite direction. For a leaned over quick scrub, lean into the jump before turning in the opposite direction. Next up, they increased the strength of the helpers, which return the rider to an upright position while airborne. So essentially, now if you want to return to center, all you have to do is release the lean and turn controls, and it will more quickly return your rider to upright than before. Perfect for recovering from big whips, scrubs, or flips. This assist is disabled when pro physics are turned on. However, so you do have to remember that if you are using pro physics, that change will not go into effect. And we only have a couple more to get through, so let's go ahead and get through them. We have adjusted frame collision to reduce sticking on low friction surfaces, and increased stiffness of ATV suspension to reduce bouncing, and that is an across-the-board change to all ATVs. Moving into the animation fixes category, the rider head looks in the direction of the bike movement when in air. Also fixed various minor animation bugs, which that could mean any number of things, but let me know in your experience in the game if you have seen anything to that effect. And finally, to close out the post, or rather just to close out their update discussion, they listed their final fix, which was fixed an issue allowing the rider to fall into the ground when wrecking, which I don't know, I feel like that seems like a pretty obvious thing you would want to fix. And now that we've gone through all of those details in regards to the new update, or rather the patch update, I'm not sure which descriptor we're going to go for that. I know we've been kind of flopping back and forth from patch to update to patch to update. So, I don't know. Interchangeable, I guess. I don't know, someone in the comments is going to tell me, no, they're not interchangeable. But I don't know, it's not really a big deal to me. But I do think that the interesting thing about this is this game does continue to get better with time, and they have been adding good updates to it. They have genuinely been going in and adjusting things that honestly I feel like not as many games would bother to adjust. Hell, they've adjusted a lot of the core physics elements, and they've genuinely made it a lot smoother to play. So also perfect aim. Also the AI had perfect aim as well. And even as this game has been out for a while now and has been through, honestly, a variety of updates, I feel like the opinion on it seems to remain polarizing because honestly, whenever I've talked about this game, it's always kind of had that reception of either people really like it or or they say it's horrible and, a terrible game and they want nothing to do with it and it's this, that, and the other. And I'm like, people really are very polarized when it comes to this game for some reason. And I don't know if that's just because, you have your realism-focused players kind of butting heads with the more casual fans of the MX vs. ATV series, or if that's just kind of an indication of the overall landscape of motocross racing games at the moment, where a lot of the fan base tends to be very specific about what they like. And so it's either something that they really, really like, or it's something that they really, really don't like. But regardless of your feelings on either of those points, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below on the latest update for MX vs. ATV Legends. And is it an update that you've been enjoying? Is it an update that, made you go, oh, I might boot this up again? Or is it an update that you saw and went, not worth it? So I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. But that is going to do it for this one, y'all. And I'll see y'all next time.